All right, welcome to this new class series, 2025. Here we are. So much has happened since I stopped teaching since the last couple of years. There's just a lot happening and changing rapidly. So I'm doing things differently too. I'm not putting on a headdress and wearing white, and we won't be tuning in with Om Namo Guru Dev Namo and doing kind of the trappings of Kundalini Yoga from that particular lineage, but I'm absolutely pulling pieces that are relevant to this theme of nervous system regulation and repair and vagus nerve. So many of the practices from Kundalini Yoga and many of the yogic traditions absolutely already got this right and knew what they were doing around our nervous system and the vagus nerve. So we'll just use the practices and not necessarily have kind of the pieces of the lineage from Kundalini Yoga. So that's what feels authentic to me. And I know that won't work for everybody, but that's kind of how I'm showing up. So we'll see how it goes. So my intention with these classes is that they're going to build on each other, but they'll also, I'll kind of do a brief review for each one, and I'll be weaving in different practices. So it won't be the same set every time. It won't be the same meditations or mantras or breathing. So there'll be variety, but this overall kind of format and theme will stick with over these next 6 weeks. So nervous system alchemy, that's what I was inspired to call this. And in the alchemical tradition, there's a real focus on working with the connection between spirit and matter, between consciousness and form. And so that's part of what we'll be doing in these classes is taking an embodied approach. So we're going to be using our bodies and our breath and looking at, the vagus nerve and what is that? But how does all of that influence our consciousness and our awareness and our emotions and how we respond to the cues in our environment? How do we listen to our inner cues so that we can respond appropriately to ourselves? So this kind of marriage of the two aspects is the kind of the alchemical piece. And then with the nervous system, as I've already said, I'll be working with polyvagal theory and vagus nerve and talking about nervous system stuff. So that's what our focus will be. And so I'm going to teach here for a little bit, but before we do that, I'm just going to offer this really brief little check-in. So we've all been having busy days and lives, and so we're just going to ground in. And so one nice way to do that is to use the eyes. So instead of closing the eyes and going within, what I'm going to suggest, and all of these are just tools that you can take what you like, leave the rest, is with eyes open, look around your space. And just let your eyes land on an object, something neutral or pleasant, and just notice it. You could even name it to yourself, like, oh, I'm looking at that, window into the backyard, or whatever is the thing that you see. So we're just kind of grounding into, oh, I'm present in this space and in my body. And then let your eyes gaze on something else. Oh, there's a painting that has purple and white in it. Just name for yourself what it is that you see. I see you, and I'm safe enough to see you, and I'm here in my body and in this space, and it's okay. So one of the options that when I'd sent out my little survey to see what people were interested in me teaching, one of them was about oracle cards. And this may not speak to you, but this particular deck I've been really loving and using for the last couple of years. It's called The Wild and Sacred Feminine. And so every Monday I pull a card about the week coming up. And this Monday, the card I pulled seemed very appropriate for this whole class series. So I wanted to read parts of the card for you. And also here's I'll give you a screen share. So in a moment, I'll have you close your eyes, but before we do that, so the wild and sacred feminine, she breaks it into kind of elemental and wild and different kind of divine feminine archetypes. Let's see, I have to find where screen share is. There it is. And so the one that I pulled was dolphin, which is related to embodiment. So we're working with embodiment today, and I'll just leave this up in case you want to gaze upon it. But as I read, I just recommend or suggest if you want to put one hand on chest or belly and just connect to your breath and see what resonates for you. Dolphin embodiment. Dolphin is the keeper of prana, Sanskrit for the energy of pure consciousness, which manifests as your life breath. Like prana, dolphin is both cosmic and embodied, as are you. Primal energy swims through you as you swim through it. Dolphin wisdom celebrates you as a spiritual being who chose to incarnate. She teaches that you are here to experience the lusciousness and the discomfort of being embodied. When you feel disconnected from your vital essence, sense the subtle energies pulsing through your body, the heat pooling around your heart, the soothing rhythm of your breath, the sensual pleasure of skin on skin. With this awareness, your presence can expand to fill your whole being. As you open to layers of embodiment, energy that has been constricted may surface to be healed. So proceed slowly and know that emotions can move through you like waves, arising, expressing, and receding. Allow yourself to inhabit this ebb and flow, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Friend to those stranded at sea, dolphin ensures you will not get lost in this vast ocean of feeling. How will you be saved? Your breath. Dolphins' exuberant embodiment is closely linked to their mastery of breath. They hold their breath as they swim underwater. When they surface, a powerful clearing exhale precedes the next inhale. To move energy and release emotion, dolphin guides you to practice letting go through a deep out breath. Then as you breathe in, welcome the flow of spirit into your physical body. This full breath of life connects you to something deeply interfused, emotion that runs through all things. So just taking a moment, checking in with yourself, feeling your hand on your own body, the rhythm of your breath, the warmth around your heart. These are the themes we'll be working with today. So coming through that, I assume that I have no real need to talk about why we need these practices in these times. That's probably pretty obvious to all of us. So what I want to do is focus on possible solutions and not the problems that are happening. We're powerless over a lot that's happening in our lives, in the larger world, in our personal lives. But let's find and use the power that we do have. So whether that's over our breath, how we're moderating and monitoring the pranic inflow, that our attention, where are we focusing our attention? How do we develop and heal our relationship with ourselves? What are the self-care practices that work for us? Because those are always changing. So my goal will be to focus really on what we can have control over and what we can shift and not focus on all that other stuff. And that is a radical act in and of itself. So the things we'll need today are yoga mat, blanket, pillow, journal, water, and then if you have something handy, some kind of oil or massage oil, we'll be doing a little bit of neck massage later on. So while I'm teaching on these things, feel free to just lie down or stretch out or just begin to take care of yourself. Drink some water. Yeah, just be in your body. And I'll try to keep this brief, but I do want to kind of pull in these two pieces, the intellect, to understand why it is we're doing what we're doing. So the first piece, polyvagal theory, it is just a theory. The guy that developed it is just a guy. There's no pedestals involved. It may all be proved incorrect, but I think there's some pieces that are useful. So take what you like, leave the rest. Stephen Porges, 1990s, he was a psychologist, still is. And this theory, polyvagal theory, tries to explain how the vagus nerve helps to regulate our responses to stress, safety, and connection. So vagus nerve is an actual physical thing, and our response is more that kind of, consciousness piece. So matter and consciousness, how are they interrelated? These states were evolved to help us survive in an uncertain and chaotic world with fearful, scary things, and also opportunities for love and connection and understanding and compassion and all the good stuff too. So how is it that our nervous system helps us to relate with our environment and what's happening around us? So digging in a little deeper, polyvagal. So we've talked about the vagal part. We're going to be talking about vagus nerve. Poly just means more than one. So he talked about three. There's the dorsal vagal, the ventral vagal, and then the sympathetic nervous system. So vagus nerve is a major part of the parasympathetic nervous system, which governs the ventral and dorsal vagal. And so those two branches, ventral just means above the diaphragm. So we're talking about the heart and the lungs, the voice box, the face, the eyes. It's our social interaction, our social nervous system. And then the dorsal is just below the diaphragm. So the digestive organs, liver, kidneys. So those are the two branches, and yoga and all these practices that we're going to do impact both of those branches in different ways. So these three different states, we'll start with ventral vagal. So that's our safe and social. Hopefully all of us watching this are in some form of ventral vagal. We feel basically relaxed, we're calm, we can communicate, we can listen, we can learn. Maybe there's some compassion, some playfulness, some curiosity. We can connect with each other. Our heart rate is steady. Our digestion is basically working. Our breath is slow. So just do a little inventory for the moment for yourself. Ventral vagal, is that on board for you? The next one is the one that we're maybe more familiar with. This is the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight. So here we're more anxious, we're mobilized, we're ready to respond. There may be some threats in our environment that we have to be awake and aware to. So our heart rate might be a little faster, our breath might be faster so that we can use our muscles and respond in some kind of way. We might be feeling a sense of worry or urgency or fear. Maybe there's a desire to control or confront or escape. So we've got the fight or flight options here. There's some form of danger. What are we going to do about it? Our adrenaline rises, our cortisol rises. So when we shift into flight mode, we want to escape, to avoid, to flee. We might busy ourselves with work or hypervigilance, trying to figure out what's going on. There might be restlessness and panic. And with the fight side, that's when we get into defensiveness or attacking, irritability, anger. We're like on a short fuse and we kind of can blow up easily, feeling ready to argue or protect. So that's that sympathetic. And then the final one is the dorsal vagal. So again, we're back in connecting to the vagus nerve. And this is our shutdown. This is when we're overwhelmed. Our system just can't handle any of it, and we withdraw. So this is like the turtle in the shell. We have low energy, our limbs feel heavy, we might feel slumped or have a flat tone of voice, sense of hopelessness and despair, feeling disconnected from ourselves and others, desire to disappear or isolate. So it's kind of like the vagus nerve is on overdrive and just shuts us down. So again, there's no bad state. There's no one state that we should never be in. We need all of them. They evolve to support us. But when we're constantly in some of these states, one, it's hard on our bodies. The adrenaline and cortisol is hard on the brain and on the nervous or on the organs. And then, of course, if we're always in freeze mode or turtle in shell mode, it's hard to interact with the world around us. So no bad state, but how does it that we can recognize the state we're in and find tools to kind of help support us through it and beyond it in the moment. So I want to just pause now after this little influx of information and just notice what's coming up for you. What state do you think you might be in? Obviously, there can be an intermingling and intermixing of states. So the ventral vagal, calm, connected, the sympathetic, kind of ready to react, fight or flight, and then the dorsal vagal, I'm out. So what states feel familiar to you recently? Maybe you've been in one more than another. What states feel more comfortable for you? Some people are just in fight mode all the time. That's actually more comfortable to them than that ventral vagal of calm and relaxed. So just noticing for yourself. All right, so next little piece here before we start our practice is the vagus nerve. What is it and where does it exist in our bodies? So we've been kind of talking maybe more about the consciousness aspect. Now we're going to get into the matter aspect. So it's the longest cranial nerve in your body. Comes from the Latin word for wandering. So it's wandering throughout your whole body. It starts or it doesn't start, but it exits your brain right behind the ear. So if you want to take a moment and just feel kind of behind your earlobe, there's a little gap kind of right between your jawbone, top of your jawbone, and this like kind of bony knob. That's where it comes out. And it's going to come down on both sides of your throat along the jugular and down through into your lungs and your heart, your diaphragm, and down into your gut and digestive system. And it governs digestion and repair and rest. And it's acting like this super highway between your brain and your body, regulating heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, breathing, facial tone, vocal tone, eye movement. And so this explains why things like humming and singing and chanting have a calming effect because we're vibrating through the throat and down into the chest. It also explains why doing eye work, which is some of what we'll do today, because the vagus nerve controls eye movement. And do we feel safe enough to have a relaxed gaze, or are we needing to look directly at something in order to gauge whether it's coming at us or some form of danger? Yeah, so it basically touches every organ, every major organ in the body. So every time we move or breathe or chant or place a hand on our heart, we're connecting to the vagus nerve. Toning the vagus nerve is just about increasing its flexibility and responsiveness. So when we get into sympathetic fight or flight, can we return back to that ventral vagal state? How long does it take us? So we can easily return to a regulated, calm state after stress. More emotional resilience, quicker recovery from stress, better immune function, all of these things related to this vagus nerve. So, all right, so that's all of the kind of information sharing I want to do for now, and now we'll come into the body and our embodied practice. So if you want to come sitting up, if you've been laying down, and just connect in with your breath. Maybe you want to do a little inner gaze of connecting to where the vagus nerve comes out behind that ear and down through both sides of your throat into your heart and lungs, through the diaphragm and into the belly. And just an affirmation: I'm here, I'm safe enough in this moment, I'm safe enough to learn and connect with myself, try something new, have an experience. So we'll come into our movement practice. So we'll start with some cat-cow. It's one of my very favorite things that I start every day with. And if you think about where the vagus nerve is, cat-cow is going to connect in with all of those parts. So you'll come onto hands and knees. And we're going to do a really slow version of cat-cow. So your eyes can be closed. We'll start with eyes closed. We'll open them in a moment, but hands under shoulders and knees under hips. And you'll just follow movement with breath. So inhaling, chin up, tailbone up, and exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tail. And as you're doing this movement, you can, again, kind of follow that vagus nerve where it is in your body, and notice how cat-cow is allowing all of these organs and areas of the body to have a stretch and a release. And maybe you use an inner mantra like, as I move, I become more present with myself. As I move, I become more present with myself. So for these next few moments, I'll just suggest that you try opening your eyes and just let your eyes have a soft gaze. As you lift your chin, you look up towards the ceiling, and as you tuck the chin, you look down towards the floor. And just let your gaze follow your breath. As I move, I become more present with myself. Next time you lift your chin and lift your tailbone, just pause there for a moment, hold the breath for a moment, and then exhale, come back to neutral, hands and knees. And we're going to come into what's called a salamander pose. So still here on this hands and knees, your right hip is going to kind of reach away from your body, and your right shoulder is going to do the same as well. So it's like you're creating a C shape on the right side of your body. It may not feel particularly comfortable. It might feel really subtle. So right hip reaches away from you, right shoulder reaches away from you. And then the main important piece here is you're going to tilt your head to the left. So your chin is reaching away from you and the top of your head is reaching to the left. And then the final part is your eyes are going to look to the right. So if this is all confusing, you could just think about salamanders and how they kind of curve their body in a C curve, and their left goes in, their head goes in the opposite direction. And then we're going to add this right, the gaze looking to the right. And we're just going to breathe here. So you should be feeling a stretch through the right side of your neck. And then we'll come back to neutral and we'll try the other side. So swing your hip to the left, swing your shoulder to the left, create a C shape on the left side of your body. Head tilts to the right, eyes look back to the left. And we'll just pause here and breathe. And inhaling, come to neutral. And exhale, come sitting on your heels if that's comfortable for you. If it's not, you could be cross-legged. Sitting on the heels will come into a spinal flex. So this is like a seated cat-cow. So hands will reach to the knees, hold on to the knees to ground. And as you inhale, you'll arch your heart forward. You'll feel the stretch and opening through the front of the body. And exhale, round the spine. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, heart back. If it feels good, you could include some neck movement here. So as you inhale forward, lift the chin and stretch through the throat. As you exhale back, tuck the chin, stretch through the back of the neck. So we're stimulating the vagus nerve through this rhythmic breath and movement. Eyes can be closed if you like, or you can open them and just have a soft gaze and just notice what's around you as you notice what's within you. Stillness and center and hold for a moment. And then exhale and widen your knees if you're sitting on the heels and lower your forehead down to the floor. We'll come into child's pose. And just experiment with getting comfortable here. Your hands can be down by your sides if that feels cozy, or if you'd like a stretch through your arms and shoulders, you could reach your arms up overhead and let the hands rest on the earth. And we're going to come into some humming here. So vagus nerve goes through the throat. So on an inhale, just a nice deep inhale through the nose, and an exhale, it's a humming. Your mouth is closed, lips are closed. And just be present with the vibration in your throat, your face. You might even feel it up into your third eye, your chest. I am safe in this moment. Letting tension melt down your spine. Inhaling, hold for a moment. And exhaling, we're going to lift up into down dog just for a few breaths. So tucking the toes, lifting the hips, and stretching through the back of the body. Just getting a little stretch through the backs of the legs. And we're going to transition from down dog into cobra or up dog, whatever feels safest for you. So lowering your hips to the floor and either straight arms, lifting your chest up off the floor, or if you'd rather bend the arms and be a little more grounded into cobra. And just will stay here and breathe. Take care of your low back. If this posture doesn't work for you, you could come into child's pose again. And just this affirmation of opening. I'm safe enough to open. I can open my heart to life. Opening the heart and the throat, all of the vagal pathways. If you want to experiment with humming here, feel what that feels like. You may feel more of a strong sensation. Toning this vagus nerve for resilience. Good, and then lowering yourself back down to the earth for a moment. You could turn your head to one side. Just breathe and notice how your body feels. And then we'll push into child's pose just for a breath or two to release through the low back. And then making your way back up to sitting, either cross-legged or sitting on the heels. And we'll just come into some really simple neck turns. So we'll start with eyes closed, but you'll just turn your head to one side. Let your chin reach over that left shoulder. And then come back to center. And then go to the other side. Chin over the right shoulder. When you come back to center, maybe there's an affirmation of centering for yourself. We're loosening this area where the vagus nerve exits the skull and travels down through the throat. And for an extra practice, you might include your eyes. So as you turn your head to the right, maybe you look to the left. And then vice versa, turn your head to the left and look to the right. You could try this with eyes closed or open. Good, and inhale back to center, hold for a moment. Exhale, drop the chin to the chest and just do a couple neck rolls in each direction, taking care of your neck. You might experiment with opening and closing your jaw at different parts of the neck roll. And just an inner mantra of I soften and release. Coming to stillness. Bringing the top of the head up towards the sky with an inhale. And we'll come into some shoulder shrugs. Inhaling both shoulders up towards the earlobes, exhaling, drop them down. You could experiment with inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. You could experiment with letting the inhale be shorter and the exhale be longer. And an inner affirmation of I'm dropping whatever I don't need. Allow yourself to feel lighter and freer after each exhale. both shoulders up, hold the breath, pause, tighten, squeeze the muscles in the shoulders, and then on the exhale, drop it all, shake off, release, and let go. We'll bring the hands interlaced behind the head, and the elbows are out wide to the side. You'll feel this stretch through your armpits. The eyes are going to be open, and you'll let your gaze go as far to the right as you can. So your head stays centered. Eyes just focus all the way to the right, and we'll just pause here and breathe a few breaths. Toning the vagus nerve through controlling mindfully the eye gaze. You may notice within yourself a shift. Maybe you have a desire to sigh, or there's some form of release. That's a good sign that your vagus nerve is doing what it needs to do. From here, we'll keep the posture, but shift the eye gaze to the left, and just look as far to the left as you can, keeping your head centered. Breathing. Let the gaze be soft, but we're moving, using those eye muscles. Last few moments here. Okay, inhale, suspend the breath. And exhale, relax the arms down, and let's release the legs out from underneath you as well, and just stretch out your legs, maybe massage or rub your knees, thighs, calves, ankles, feet, whatever could use a little support. And release. All right, and we'll do one more exercise in this little set. So sitting cross-legged, we'll come into a Sufi grind. So we'll be moving the torso in big circles, and I'll suggest that you activate your stomach muscles. So we'll work with the dorsal ventral below the diaphragm. So as you inhale, your belly will be soft, you'll come forward, and then you'll start rotating yourself around and back, and on that exhale, you're as far back as you can, and your belly is pulled in as far as it can go, and then you'll inhale and come up around the other side, and just continue in that way. So once you get the hang of the movement and the belly, I'll suggest that you keep your eyes open and just let your eye gaze be soft, so that you can see the whole peripheral vision is online, and you're just aware and present with what it is that you're seeing in front of you, without needing to fixate on anything or focus on anything. You're just widely aware. The next time you inhale forward, we'll just shift directions, keeping that same practice with the belly. Loosening tension in the belly and the diaphragm. Okay, great. And inhale, come to center. And exhale, release. So come into a breathing practice. So getting yourself comfortable. Both of these exercises will be spent sitting up. So the first one is using the so hum breath. So we'll be working with the mantra so hum. So is referring to higher consciousness, to the infinite aspect of ourself, and hum is this self right here, this embodied individual self. So we're joining these two together, and we're going to join it through the practice of the breath. So if you're familiar with Ujjayi breathing, that's what we'll be doing. Basically, it just means you're using your throat muscles to gently constrict the airway. So it'll make a sound. I don't know if it'll come through on Zoom or not, but it sounds something like this. So we'll just be sitting up, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose, constricting the back of the throat so that we're listening to a sound. And on the inhale, you'll mentally vibrate so, contemplate the infinite consciousness. And on the exhale, hum, contemplating yourself, your body, this lifetime that you're in right now. There's a little bit of a pause at the top of the inhale. And just continue at your own pace, listening to the sound of your own breath. Letting the sound of your breath remind you to stay present. Connecting yourself with something greater. Seeing a bigger picture. And gently releasing that practice and just coming back to a natural breath, noticing what you notice. Shift the body or shake out the legs if they need that. We'll come into the second breath practice. So as was mentioned in that dolphin embodiment card, the exhale is the focus for a dolphin when it's been holding its breath and it comes out and it's this powerful release. We've got to clear out before we can receive. So we'll be inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, and the inhale will be for about a count of 4 and the exhale about a count of 6. In any case, you want the exhale to be a little bit longer than the inhale. So inhale through the nose, count of 4. Exhale through the mouth, count of 6. And continue in your own way. You can have an awareness of, as you inhale, the belly is going to fill, and then the ribs, and then the chest. And then on the exhale, it's reversed. Chest constricts, ribs, and belly.
I am bountiful, blissful, and beautiful. Bountiful, blissful, and beautiful.
Last couple of rounds of the breath. Longer exhale than inhale. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I release. I make room. And then release the practice and just come back to a natural breath and just check in with yourself. So the next practice we'll be working again with the neck, and this is where if you have some massage oil or lotion to have it handy might be nice. You can sit on your heels. I like to do that version because then you can put your hand, so if we're gonna sit on our heels, put your right hand underneath your right shin, and then when we tilt the head to the left, we'll get even more of a stretch. But if that's not comfortable for you, you can just sit cross-legged. Okay, so we'll work with the right side of the neck first. So you're gonna tilt your head to the left and just stay here. Pause. And now the eyes are gonna look over to the right. So you'll feel a stretch into the eyes as you look to the right. We're breathing here. This is called a vagal glide. And we're stretching and loosening the fascia around that vagus nerve as it exits the skull. Breathing deeply and slowly, regulating your breath. And then we'll switch sides, so come back to center. If your right hand is under your right shin, you can release that and then put left hand under left shin, stretch the head to the left, and stretch the head to the right and look to the left. And breathing. And loosening the grip of tension. And then inhaling, come back up to center and release and relax. Okay, so we're going to come into our guided relaxation. So getting comfortable lying down or whatever feels good for you to relax and be guided, and you may drift off into sleep, which is totally fine. You want to really support your body to feel as relaxed as possible. So using blankets, pillows. If you have that lotion or oil, you could use that at this time. Put a little on your hands once you get relaxed and comfortable, and just gently massage the sides of the neck. So lying down, allowing your body to settle into the ground beneath you. A little self-massage around the neck and jaw and face if you like. And then let your arms rest gently, either palms up by the sides of your body or placed over your heart or belly. Allowing your eyes to close And feeling the invitation of gravity. Nothing to hold up, nothing to manage. It's safe to relax, and I give my body permission to rest. Bringing your awareness to your breath. No need to change it, just notice. Inhale, exhale. With each breath out, let something go. With each breath in, receive support, receive safety. Bringing attention to your eyes, inviting them to soften. Notice the feeling of being seen by your own presence. Releasing through your jaw, letting your tongue rest gently in your mouth. Smoothing the space between your eyebrows. You are signaling to yourself, it's okay to rest now. Letting your awareness moving down through your body into your throat. Letting that soften. You don't have to speak or explain right now. Noticing the rise and fall of your chest. Anywhere there's tension or holding, offer this message. You are safe enough to soften. Your belly, letting it expand freely with the breath. Down through your hips and legs. All the way to your toes. You are safe enough to soften. And now imagine a place where you feel truly safe. It could be real or imagined. And let your eyes gently sweep left and right as if you were looking all around this safe space. Let your body soak in that sense of safety, peace. your breath deepen. Maybe a sigh or a yawn wants to come through. And feeling the support of the ground beneath you. Know that this support is always here for you. And bringing some gentle movement into your fingers and toes. Gently opening your eyes and letting your gaze move around the space slowly. Let yourself carry this calm with you. This is your true home. And we'll come back into movement by bringing the hands together and the feet together if you can, and rubbing them, waking up the hands and the feet. And then bring the knees into the chest and just draw yourself into a ball, drawing inward, listening within, letting the breath move into your back body, waking up the dorsal vagal in the abdomen. And then let the knees drop to one side and we'll come into a cat stretch. A gentle twist for detox, digestive system stimulated, releasing what you no longer need. And then knees back into center and let them drop to the other side. Opposite cat stretch. And then planting the feet on the floor beneath your hips, and lift yourself up into a bridge pose, lifting the hips up off the floor. Just feeling the support of your legs, your feet. You could lower down on an exhale and lift up on an inhale if you like. Feeling the earth rising up to meet you and support you.
Bountiful, blissful, and beautiful I am. I am, I am, I am.
And then lowering the hips back down, knees back into the chest. Tuck the chin and rock yourself on your spine if that feels okay to your body, up and down or side to side. Massaging the spine. And in your own way, in your own time, making your way back up to sitting.
You are bountiful.
on to a practice of using our voices to sing this song that we've been listening to, with this intention of vibrating the throat and the chest. The eyes can be either open and just soft gaze, or you can close them down, looking within, and really just sensing how the vibration in your throat connects to your face, your eyes, your feeling tone. Calling yourself back home as you sing and chant. If you're not comfortable singing the words, you could hum, but let yourself make some noise through your voice. We're vibrating the voice box.
You are bountiful, blissful, and beautiful. Bountiful, blissful, and beautiful you are. You are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. You are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. You are bountiful, blissful, and beautiful. Bountiful, blissful, and beautiful you are. You are bountiful, blissful, and beautiful. Bountiful, blissful, and beautiful you are. You are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. You are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. I am bountiful, blissful, and beautiful. Bountiful, blissful, and beautiful I am. I am bountiful, blissful, and beautiful. Bountiful, blissful, and beautiful I am. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am.
And inhaling deeply and exhale, and just notice what you notice, having used your voice in this way. Placing one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and just follow the rhythmic movement of your breath. Breathing deeply, and let's add in some humming on that exhale, feeling the vibration of your body under your hand. And as you breathe and vibrate, imagining a warm light filling your chest and spreading up into your face, through your throat, down into your belly. This warm light tracing the whole vagus nerve through your body. I belong in my body. I know how to take care of myself. I carry this calm in me. Staying here as long as you like. And when you feel ready, if you have a journal handy, just checking in with yourself. What is it that you need to tell yourself, or that your body needs to tell you? What is this connection between your consciousness and your body? Are there any practices that you want to incorporate or come back to? Just let yourself free write for the next minute or so. Checking in with yourself, noticing how you're feeling. And we'll close our practice for now with the Long Time Sunshine song and a couple of satnams, just to again vibrate through the body, connecting to your intention of self-care, of using the power that you have to shift your consciousness through these embodied practices. We'll bring the hands rubbing in front of the heart and stimulating that space in front of your heart center. And then bringing the thumbs into the heart, feeling the vagus nerve flowing underneath your thumbs. If you know the words, join in. If you don't, just receive the blessing. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. We'll close with a long Satnam. Thank you so much, everybody, and blessings. Hope to see you again.